Okay, so this is an interesting story. Carmelo Anthony tomorrow will be getting inducted into the Hall of Fame of the NBA of basketball. Now, the two guys presenting him, as far as I know, because I'm looking at an article here, is Allen Iverson and Dwayne Wade, which is a good choice. I think Dwayne Wade and Carmelo Anthony are pretty good friends, and Allen Iverson played with Anthony in Denver. Now, there was a lot of talk, and basically one of the Knicks legend players, Walt Frazier, has voiced his opinion as to Carmelo Anthony and possibility of him getting his jersey retired as a New York Knick. And what some fans of the New York Knicks say, that he definitely deserves it. He's a great player. Should be, his jersey should be retired and all that. Well, Frazier is saying, on the other hand, that he should not get a jersey retirement with the Knicks because he hasn't won a title. I do agree with Walt Frazier, but not just because he hasn't won a title with the New York Knicks. My reasoning here is this. Carmelo Anthony has been with the New York Knicks for 7 seasons. I have some information here on a sheet, so I'm going to tell you about it. His first season, when he came in, the Knicks got bounced in the playoffs in the first round against the Boston Celtics. They got swept. In his second season as a Knick, the Knicks lost 4-1 to the Miami Heat in the first round. The third season, they lost in the second round to the Indiana Pacers, famous block by Roy Hibbert on Carmelo Anthony going to the basket trying to dunk the basketball in Game 6. In his fourth season, they didn't make the playoffs. In his fifth season, they didn't make the playoffs. In his sixth season, they didn't make the playoffs. And in his seventh season, they didn't make the playoffs. So he made the playoffs 3 seasons. 4 seasons he did not. That's one point of my argument. That record alone does not get you a jersey retirement for any team. Like, what the hell? No way. His overall average points per game for his career as a New York Knick was 24.7, which is a pretty good average. He did average 64 games per season for the Knicks for 6 seasons. I'm not counting the first season because he played like 27 games in that. If you count that season, he's averaging about 58 games for the Knicks every season on average. So that also shows me he wasn't there a lot. He was either injured or whatever it was. I mean, he had 2 seasons, I think, that he played like 72, 71 games. But that was about it. Now, when you look at the things that you have to have on your resume for a team to retire your jersey, you really have to deliver something. I mean, playoff wise, at least a conference final, maybe a trip to the finals, not necessarily a title. But the biggest thing for me was this. When the Knicks traded for Carmelo Anthony, which happened during the 2010-2011 season, there was a lot of chaos going on in the NBA around Carmelo Anthony at that time. What I can recall from that time, because I was really dialed in when all of this was happening, was that when Carmelo Anthony was traded to the Knicks gave up half their roster, like really good players that would have complemented Carmelo Anthony a lot if he came to the Knicks. And he could have gotten to the Knicks as a free agent during the summer. So the Knicks wouldn't have lost anything. But then when you look at it, the Knicks traded away half their roster. There was a Danilo Gallinari got traded. Wilson Chandler got traded. Like good complementary players. There's no joke. But the thing is, most people don't know this, but this Carmelo Anthony partially forced this situation on the Knicks. Over the years, stories came out. Carmelo Anthony did not have a good relationship with George Karl. He really did not like playing for George Karl, especially later in his Denver Nuggets career. He's voiced that a lot. He talked about it during his podcast on one episode, and it was not a good situation at all. So Carmelo Anthony wanted to get out of that Denver Nuggets team ASAP. So there was a lot of rumors around the NBA that if the Knicks don't pull the trigger and do the trade with Denver and get Carmelo Anthony to the Knicks, then he potentially might just, sign with another team and not the New York Knicks. And I think a lot of those rumors were coming from Carmelo Anthony's camp. That is my feeling about this. I might be wrong. I might not. But what was the issue for him, knowing that a lot of this stuff was in the media, to just say, listen, don't do anything. My contract's coming up. I'm going to sign with the Knicks, period. Why do that? Why not do that? I think he deliberately forced the Knicks to trade for him because he wanted to get out of Denver ASAP. He didn't want to wait those 27, 30 games that were remaining in that season, playing with George Karl. So he forced the Knicks to make that trade because they were afraid that they're going to lose him potentially and not get him at all. And then kind of shot himself in the foot because the Knicks didn't have enough assets to really have a good supporting cast for him. Amari Stoudemire, who came in a season earlier, already had problems with his knees again. And he wasn't the same guy. I think the best season Amari Stoudemire had with Carmelo Anthony on the Knicks, like the full season, I think he was averaging like 17.5 points. That was not the Amari Stoudemire that even came in the first season that it came into the Knicks, because he was after surgery. He was like really doing good that first season that he came in when Carmelo still wasn't there. He was averaging like 25 points a game. He was a beast. So the Knicks traded a lot of assets. They could have used down the line to make another trade. They could have, those assets could have made better pieces to support Carmelo Anthony and Amari Stoudemire later. And it just cost the Knicks for years of him forcing that franchise to trade for him because he didn't want to wait till summer. And then the bad record with the Knicks overall, the bad performances, the 4 missed seasons in the playoffs. I mean, he averaged 24.7 points a game. He was averaging pretty good, scoring average. But what did he really do for the Knicks to deserve a jersey retirement? I mean, he barely got us to the second round of the playoffs one season. And we were out against Indiana. Never gotten to the conference finals. Not talking about the finals. The conference finals they couldn't even get to. And then 4 seasons with completely nothing. No playoffs. One of those seasons, I think he played like 40 games. And the Knicks had like 15 wins that season. It was like 15 or 17 wins. I think it was 17 and 65 or something like that. That was the record with Carmelo Anthony on the roster. That's terrible. There's no way Carmelo Anthony, as great a player that he was for his career, because he was a great player. But there is no way in my book that Carmelo Anthony deserves a jersey retirement from the New York Knicks. No freaking way. Like, how much are we going to lower standards for people to get jersey retirements, for people to get statues for teams? Like, really? That just cannot happen. Period. I'm glad he's going to the Hall of Fame. Very well deserved. But no way for a jersey retirement for Carmelo Anthony on the New York Knicks from me. Period. There's no argument for it. Now, tell me what you guys think in the comments. Comment section is open. Like, share, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And I'll see you in the next one. Peace.